we see we got the real info in the building. So what y'all think about that? Do y'all think fathers was just leaving on their own? Now we're not gonna act like there wasn't no good man, no good men out there that didn't take care of their family. We're not gonna act like that's not true. But what my part of the argument is there were brothers out there that wanted to take care of their family, but they couldn't because of the white supremacy and the welfare system help take the family, help the fathers out of the homes. But Miss Danny say that isn't true. But Miss Danny, can you tell me what you believe?
It's not true because you got to think about it. If a household has a 2-parent dynamic, okay, and both these people are working, but they're still not getting ahead. Now they have to depend on the system. They're going to be in your business, but whose fault is that? You had a family that you could not afford. You made babies that you were relying on the system to take care of, and you don't want them to have a say-so in who, what, where, when, and why. I mean, and let's be real, there was a lot of families back then who were surviving. If they had to live off the land, raise animals and plant and all that stuff.
Pay out
yeah.
Type of environment the father was working.
Okay, so my question is, this is based on what transpired back then, or based on what's going on in the current situation with people on welfare?
Yeah, we want to focus on what transpired back then, and we can lead into today's time. But
well, what transpired back then with a lot of welfare was people on drugs.
What happened?
They started shutting down all the factories in the most common neighborhoods where most black men work. And then they resulted in bringing in drugs. And then the crack era started. That's what started a lot of poverty, drugs. Because black families were making it just fine without white people. Even if they poor, so to speak.
That's what I'm trying to say right there. So if you got the system involved in your business, so to speak, because I remember like my grandma and them be like, they don't want them people in their business. That was not a thing to do back then.
What shall they do? You got these kids here. You gotta feed them at that point. And they here. The kids are here. We gotta feed them. We gotta make sure they're getting fed. And at that point, you can't think about other things. You just think about getting food on the table for these kids and sending them behind the school.
Right. So what part of that constituted saying that the men were forced out of that equation?
Well, I mean, in order for them to accept those benefits, the men had to leave.
But see, that's what I don't believe is 100% accurate.
No, that's not accurate.
Because my issue with that is and that's even current state. Women believe that they can't have access to the benefits if they have their kids' father around. That's the pawn. That's the propaganda that he's spinning, and people believed it because that's not accurate. Because men qualify just for many benefits as women do, which is also another propaganda that is fed into communities, especially impoverished communities, that they can't be a 2-partner home with food stamps or Medicaid, and that's not accurate. That's not true.
But listen, the ones that do qualify, they get very little SNAP benefits. We talking about
it doesn't matter. People believe they don't get any though. The issue is that they wouldn't get anything if the father was around. It's not whether they get a little bit or a lot. It's the fact that they think they wouldn't get nothing, and that's not the truth.
In some states, the father just couldn't be there. Period. They couldn't. You didn't qualify if the father wasn't there.
I can't confirm or deny that.
They used to listen. I mean, you missed part of the video, so I get you why you denying it. But they actually used to send people there looking for the father to see whether he's in the house or not.
Right, because you got
the father had to literally leave or hide in the house.
No, we discussed this previously. So the situation is the man has to qualify for the program. If he does not qualify for the program, therefore he is not supposed to be in that household.
We just watched the video with a lady that actually did the study, and she said that in certain states that the man wasn't qualified. Period. He was not supposed to be there. Period. And we just
Okay, so
said
I
it.
got a question. My thing is, and I know that maybe this video didn't touch on that. What happens when the household is flip flop when it's just the father and there's no mother? Does the father have to starve his kids?
No, that's still a single parent household. He has
So
sole
what different?
custody.
Why does
The
it matter
rules
what
change.
sex it is?
It
So
does. The rules change. The rules change. He has the kids. The dependence is the reason why you getting the benefits. It's the kids.
Okay, but the consensus is that this program drove the men from the home.
Right.
So and they're showing, so we're talking about only black men being drove. So when white people was on this program, white fathers was drove out of these programs too.
Yeah. Yeah. The poor whites that was on welfare. Yeah.
But they don't have this story. It's just the black people telling this story.
But that we got to tell our own story. We ain't got business to be talking about everybody else's story. We the one getting
Right, but
damaged the
but
most out of
so
it.
the generalization is that welfare drove black fathers out of the home, but and supposed white fathers too. Well, we all know that's crap.
that's not correct. Yeah, that's
But you got to understand, it was called, and when it was facing white people, they call it subsidized homes.
It's been
And
subsidiary.
and
It's been for
subsidiaries.
years. It's not a racial thing. It's an income thing. So
It
to
is
have
right.
and was a
subsidized
racial thing.
everything
That's
is not has nothing to do with your race. I mean,
you are
it sucks at the point that they make videos, and I understand this is these people truth, so I'm not minimizing that, but it sucks how it's a video specifying that they getting subsidiary benefits, whether it be food or whether it be housing, and fathers can't be in there, but it's only just us, the people who are being affected, and black kids are being affected because the mothers don't meet a certain requirement when it's not a racial thing.
Right. And that's where the lines are blurred at, because we're making it a racial thing that black men were drove out. No, a lot of these men were leaving because once these subsidies became a part of the household, you have to understand now these women are having to make choices about how they're receiving, because a lot of these men were not willing to work a second job to support their household, so they did not need the resources. This is why a lot of them left the household, because they didn't want to compete with that system and upgrade to get off. That's just like women who get on that slow
that's
stamp.
not true. That's what y'all that's what
It
y'all be
is.
mistaken that.
There's a
That
lot of women who receive those
job
subsidies
opportunities
that
was
will
not
not.
available like that. That's what y'all got to understand. Y'all
Okay, so
live in a
how were
different
I
these
was
other
getting
economic.
ready
black
to touch on
families
Y'all
that
live in
point
a
surviving?
about
different
fathers having
economic
How were
two
these other black
jobs.
environment.
families surviving?
Y'all live
How
in
were they
y'all live
surviving?
in a different economic
No,
environment.
sir.
Economic
No,
environment
sir.
was not the
How were
same
these? You
as
didn't,
it is now.
Alex. You didn't answer my question. I said, how were these other black families surviving?
Some people had good jobs. Some people had good jobs. Some people had
Okay,
post degrees.
so again, so if
That's the
we're
lucky
talking
and
about
unlucky.
poverty, people who are in impoverished conditions, who have impoverished minds, who don't have the capacity to do better for themselves, those are probably the men who were running from their families. Because at this point, I'm not willing, I'm not able to do better. Or you know what I'm saying? Or the woman who's also in that situation, they're not willing to work together to bring the dynamic that they need. So they're not utilizing this system. That's even to this day. If you're dealing with a man and you have a baby from him and he's not able to provide for that entire household, guess what? That woman is going to have to go outside that household to get food stamps, get Medicaid for these same kids, because he's not able to do that. So it shouldn't fall all on the man. They should be working together to succeed at that. So it's not even about the man at this point. It's about why didn't those two people come together to come up with whatever they need to come up with to not have to depend on that system. So it's not even really a system issue. It's just the mindset of the people that are involved.
So let me cut you off real. And this where the next problem lies at. This is where the
Okay.
next problem lies at. Young people was having babies before they even had skills and education. Now you got to take that in account.
Okay, pause.
Yes, yes, yes. You got to understand that was a thing. Teen pregnancy was a thing.
Think teen pregnancy was a thing during slavery. They were still misguided, misundereducated, underskilled in the whole nine. So that is
We're
not.
not talking about slavery.
I know what I'm saying is teen pregnancy is not the issue as to why the system is why it is.
It's not why the system was there, but you got to understand if you're talking about the mother and father dynamic and progressing as a family, yeah, that's gonna play a major contribution to that.
But teen pregnancy definitely wasn't as high then as it is now, or as it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. In the 1960s and the 70s, it wasn't a bunch of 14-year-old girls getting pregnant.
Yes, it was. That's where you wrong at. Yes, it was.
Getting pregnant
and there's statistics, and I just had it was just in the video. The lady just told you 85% of the homes was led by single homes, and over 50% of the women was young women that was getting pregnant.
Young women or teenage women?
I'm just saying.
So follow me. So are we talking about young women being pregnant, or are we talking about teenage women being pregnant? Because when I say young women, I'm saying everybody who's old enough to spend for themselves, which in the United States will be 18 years old and older. Right. When I'm saying young women who can sign their name on a document legally without their parents. When I think of someone saying young women. So are we specifying young women being pregnant, or are we specifying children still being supported by their parents pregnant?
Right. It was both. It was teenage children that was getting pregnant at a high rate, and that was, of course, young adults, 18, 19 getting pregnant at a high rate. That was going crazy. And those two parents, these people, they did something wrong. Didn't listen to their mother, didn't listen to their father. Went out and had a child, and what they gonna do about it? They not a mother. Now the mother of the child is taking care of those kids while they can finish school and do all these things.
But Alex, what you're saying is that, and not to regurgitate this because to me it's kind of irrelevant. But what you brought up the fact that it was teen on teen pregnancies going on, 17-year-olds getting 14-year-old pregnancies, and that is just simply not the case. I know too many. For example, again, I go back to my grandmother. What I'm saying is teenage pregnancy was occurring, but what I'm saying, it was
not at the rate where it's overpopulating the system.
Right.
So I totally get that.
So y'all failing to believe the facts. Y'all failing to believe the facts. So that's what that is.
No.
I believe my anecdotal experience. That's what it sounds like to me.
I'm not disputing the facts. I'm just saying got a slant on it. That's all I'm saying. The facts ain't really. I'm gonna just speak for myself. I know y'all don't know me, but I read a lot and I'm into a whole lot of things. And Black people and progress is a very big thing for me. And then, like I say, I'm not arguing with the truth of a particular video. However, outside of the video, that's not factual. And I know that from just documentation that I've read. It's a fact in that maybe that particular place where she was, but in the broad scheme of things, it's not factual because that's not true. It's not true everywhere.
How is it not true?
Why is because I'm gonna touch on a couple different points that you specified. The teen is getting pregnant. I know for a fact, if I wish I'm on my phone, so I kind of can't do a screen, but I can show you a book. If I can pull it up, I'll send it to you, and you can read. Early in the early 60s and the 70s, teen pregnancy was in the single digits, far as occurring. amongst children getting pregnant. It wasn't like it is now. Teen pregnancy is well over 35% of most youth currently. But back then, it was only 4 to 5% of kids actually getting pregnant. Kids were way more on their better behavior then than they are now. Even in the 90s, they were way more disciplined and in order than any kid has been in a very, very, very long time. So that one is not accurate. Like I say, maybe in that particular video or where they live in that particular demographic where she lives or geographic that she lives, that very well may be a high percentage. But when you look at it as a whole full totality, that's not accurate at all.
That's what it was talking about, totality. Those numbers came
Shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
That couldn't have been.
Yes, they have. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't want to listen to the facts. Y'all want to.
No.
Y'all want to make up your own facts. That's not a diverse perspective. That's not
that's
get in real quick. Let Mr. J get in quick. What you got on the Mr. J?
Oh yeah, constantly like an irony, waiting for me to make a move on you. I'm trying to catch my future